Hello everybody, we are live. Welcome to the stream we're going to be going through. As normal on a Sunday, all of this weekend's championship action. We're now at the last international break, so 8 games to go. Still a couple of teams with 9. Let me look down here. Millwall with 9, Brentford 9, Derby 9, Middlesbrough 9, and Bristol City and Swansea still 10 games to go. But really hotting up now. Huge game at Elland Road between 2nd and 3rd. Hotting up even bigger around 5th and 6th place. Now, big swing there this weekend and everything is really on. Let yourself be known in the feed in the side. We'll get on to it. I just must apologise. The end of the last stream was a disaster. It went down, then the YouTube app crashed and I couldn't disconnect the screen. So I do apologise anybody who was watching there. So let's start at the top. And for, well, it seems like months and months, Joe says, can I stop going to Leeds, please? Joe, it's 3 wins and 3 defeats. It's completely even. But yes, the last 3 Leeds games I have seen, they have lost. So yeah, for months and months now, it seems to have been, we're talking about Norwich at the top, and they march on. It was Rotherham 1, Norwich 2. So right at the business time when it was absolutely vital, Norwich have really gone into overdrive here. 6 wins in a row for Norwich, 8 wins out of 9. This is on the back of that tricky run they had over New Year. They've just, blitzed away and proved themselves to be, on paper, the best team in the division. 28 points out of the last 11 games. I think Preston can match that, but still, that's 2.33 points per game. That's just exceptional form. Andrew's just said in the feed, Fulham Championship winners 1920. Get your money on that now. It'd be nice to see Mr. Kearney back. So McLean with the opener. Yeah, Neil says 9-point week. That must be the 4th 9-point week Norwich have done this season as well. Outstanding. Rodak, bit strange from Rodak. Gets in a bit of a muddle from McLean's opening goal. Semi Ajayi scores again. He's in utterly ridiculous form. This guy is a defensive midfielder who now has the basically the goal stats of Billy Sharp or Timu Pukki at the moment. 6 goals in the last 5 games from Ajayi. Godfrey heads in from a corner for the winner. Norwich finding new ways to win. And not the normal stats for a Norwich game at all. Rotherham equal on shots, more efforts on target. Norwich actually out-tackled Rotherham, which was rather a surprise to me. And the Canaries get the job done yet again. It's just win. Just keep winning at this stage of the season. And up you go. Keep that momentum going. He doesn't mess with the team, Farker. And that is another 1-goal victory. 14 out of 23 victories for Norwich in the league by a single goal. In tight games, they've just done absolutely superbly. Andrew says, we all wanted McLean out and he scores the winner. Nick says different goal scorers for Norwich. Pukki not scoring in 3 and winning those games. Yeah, they're finding all kinds of ways to win. Like I said, I was at that Swansea game and they weren't at their best. But yeah, 8 games to go. Norwich 78. They're going to get over 90 points. It's theirs now. And you just have such a big sample size now. 6 defeats in 38. For them to end in the playoffs here, which would now actually be a disaster if you just said to Norwich fans, playoffs at the start of the season, they'd have been, oh yes please, that would be fantastic. But you're looking at Norwich losing 4 out of the last 8 to even kind of drop into the playoffs. It's just not gonna happen. Got some Forest in here. Looking forward to their having seen Forest fans will listen. I didn't see Ipswich yesterday because I was at the Leeds game. Let's just talk quickly about Rotherham. They're on 36 points, 1 behind Reading and 1 behind Millwall, but the Lions have a game in hand. Worst goal difference out of those teams competing here, so that might count against Rotherham. Context is all You know, we spoke about Norwich's wage bill when they came down, 55 million. Rotherham's is 6 million. Rotherham are doing a great job to be in touch with 8 to go. We know they can win a home game, and I think it would be some kind of triumph from a financial point of view if they could stay up. They're in with a chance. They need wins in this last 8. Someone down the bottom there needs to win 3 in the last 8, I would say. Pick up a draw, maybe 10 points in that last 8 would take Rotherham to 46, which is 1 point per game. That may well be enough. Can they do it? Peaky says Rotherham, decent team. Can see them staying up. Let's move on to this gargantuan. We'll quickly run us. How many more wins do Norwich need? So 3 wins for Norwich would take them to 87. 4 wins out of the 8 would take them to 90 points. So really they only need 4 wins and a couple of draws. So they could win 4, draw 2 and lose 2 of the last 8 games, and they'd finish on 92 points, which is pretty much normally enough to win the championship, let alone get you up. I can't see 2 teams getting over 90 points. It's going to be tricky. If you look, we'll talk in a bit. Sheffield United and Leeds have both still got to go to Preston as well, which might be a tricky one. They've both got to go to Birmingham. We'll see about that. We'll talk about them now. So it was this massive, massive game, 2nd versus 3rd. I was there, so check out my match review. Lots of views on that, which I'm really pleased with. And just a massive result for Sheffield United. All the Blades were saying, look, let's get to Leeds, get out without losing, stay in touch, and then fight for this last 8-game sprint. But they did even better than that. They went there and they got the win. Wilder always proves me wrong. No number 10 here. Chris Basham in midfield. Leeds dominated really the first 25 minutes. Certainly the better team up to 39. Blades come into the second half. Roberts hits the post. But then the guy who I'm saying was the key tactical change actually gets the goal. Basham on 71 goes through and scores the goal. Some footage on my Twitter from in there. I'll come back to that one, Ryan, about 3rd and disappointment, whether that'll be too much. Janssen plays on injured, misses a good chance, and then a red card for Casilla on 90 minutes, just kills it off. So Blades into 2nd, 74 points with 8 to play. Next 3 games, Bristol City, Preston and Birmingham. But Sheffield United just keep proving us wrong. Every time we think they're going to drop off, they do not. So we shall see. It is in their hands now, the Blades. They are 1 point clear of Leeds. And you've got to start looking at goal difference now, because if you're 1 point clear, they're 6 up on the goal difference as well. If you're going into that last game, that's a big advantage, because you know both teams draw and you are up. Leeds, as people have pointed out in the feed here, lose another big game. I was at their home game against Norwich where it was all set up and Norwich got the win there. And now this one on the run-in against the Blades. And remember that QPR game? I know the Leeds fans are telling me now to stop going to Leeds games, but it is what it is. When the chips have been down here, that QPR one was an easier game, but they were playing on their own and it was a chance, and they did choke that one. Leeds played well on the day. You know, better side, whatever, better Schmetter. I mean, look at the scoreline. You've always got to look at the scoreline. You've got to take your chances. Leeds creating a lot of chances, not making them. So yeah, I'm sure that's not the end of this story though. People keep saying all twists and turns, cliche, but there's a reason they're cliches, because often they're true and they get trotted out enough. So we will see Leeds back. 2 weeks off now. Jack Clark was back on the bench. That's another weapon for Bielsa. I'm worried that they're going to rush back Ruth, but he may well be back. Ryan points out now, keeper suspended. I assume he only gets 1 game for that. It wasn't violent conduct or serious foul play. But Peacock Fowler's played loads of games for Leeds this season, so that shouldn't be too bad, and they've still got Berardi coming back, and Brown was sick yesterday. He might have even made a difference as a sub. Similar run-in to Sheffield United. They've got to go to Preston and Birmingham. Tricky trips to Brentford and Villa at home in those last 3 games. We'll talk about Villa in a minute. If they keep going, that's not an easy game for anybody. So yeah, this just sets it up absolutely beautifully. But it does look like 2 teams now chasing for second place. And Matty's asked about Janssen. We don't know about that. I've got a pretty good view of that. He actually made a really good tackle on Basham, but it seemed to be his left knee at the bottom there. So yeah, we shall see. Yeah, let's move on now. Well, we've got Daniel Farker in the feed apparently. Hi Daniel, there we go. Brentford 0, West Brom 1. West Brom are on a little island of their own now. They can really prepare for the playoffs, and whoever their new manager is that comes in, Joe says Janssen to replace Casiri in the next game. Do you know Pablo Hernandez really wanted to go in goal? He was all over grabbing the gloves there, but Pablo, you're really short and you're our best player. Don't go in goal, mate. Dear oh me. So West Brom, they're on an island here. We saw this with Huddersfield. Huddersfield were preparing for the playoffs with like 3 games to go. They were resting players, and you know they won in a shootout. Sometimes the team that has the longest to prepare and knows that they're not dropping out and they're not going into the top 2. I don't know whether that works. Whoever the new West Brom manager comes in, they know they're preparing for a playoff, and Slavica Jokanovic have won a playoff last year, if that seems to come. Do you think West Brom have massively underachieved? Look, you know my feelings on this. Any team that comes down with a 45 million quid parachute payment, and I apply this to Stoke and Swansea, and isn't challenging for automatic, that is by definition an underachievement. They're close, but you know, to be brutally harsh, yes, it has to be an underachievement, especially with Mr. Gale, Rodriguez, all these players. We'll talk about Villa in a minute, Paul. Alex Neil, favourite to take over at West Brom, says Benjamin. Interesting. God, that'd be a real shocker. Hey ho, we'll see what transpires. Stranger things have happened in the Championship. Kyle Edwards with the goal for caretaker boss James Shan. I've never seen Kyle Edwards play, so someone will have to tell me about him in the feed. He scores the goal on 51. Seems to be playing right side in a 4-3-3. Edwards. Brentford, as usual, they bossed the pass completion, they bossed the possession stats, but not the territory or the goals. So advanced metrics will only take you so far here. West Brom, as I said, 6 points off third, 10 points above 6, and we await the new manager. Brentford in danger now of heading to my end of season beach. Here they're in 14th, 13 off relegation, so totally safe. 9 off the playoffs, so a bit far back with a lot of traffic in the way. Although Brentford are going to have a say in some of the title matters, some of the playoff matters, and some of the relegation matters. They've got some interesting games coming up, so quite interesting. Not necessarily something on it for Brentford, but something on the games per se as Brentford's running. Right, let's talk about Villa versus Borough. Another big game here, a big clash, and here come Villa. It's been coming, but finally we see a new team in here. Andrew says, don't agree that parachutes automatically means teams should go up. You just got to look at the advantage though. In terms, the average turnover of a Championship team is 25 million, and the parachute payment is 45 million. If they've done their work properly while they're in the Premier League and sorted their contracts out, I'm not saying that guarantees automatic promotion, but it is a massive advantage if they're run properly. Chris says Borough wasting time from minute 1. Mr. Pulis being Mr. Pulis. So yeah, Villa have got into 6th place. We fought for a while. Joe says, I said Villa would get the playoffs back in November. Yeah, that was before Grealish was out and they had their terrible run. So, you know, the context has changed a lot. George says, you'll find our owner has most likely taken a lot of money out. Well, if that's your owner's prerogative, then, you know, that's yeah, that's using your advantage for maybe different means rather than footballing. But yeah, we'll see how this one pans out for West Brom end of the season. Back to Villa. Highly dominant performance from them. The stats all in Villa's favour quite heavily here. El Ghazi with the opener. McGinn, he's in great form since he's come back from injury as well. Grealish, not the only guy to come back and influence Villa here. Great stuff from McGinn. Adoma off the bench to score against his former club here on 88 3-0. And we all know the narrative here. Grealish went away on the 7th of December against West Brom. Villa were 2 points off the 6th place there after playoffs. 2 wins in 13 without Grealish. They go to 8 points off the playoff. He comes back in. 4 straight wins, 11 scores, 1 against, and that one was a fluky Colback cross. So there you go. Mings playing really well at centre-back and McGinn influencing things at the back. Excellent work from Villa into 6th place. Derby have a game in hand. Bristol City have 2 games in hand. But possession is 9/10 of the law. I saw 3 Derby games in a row. I know Derby have got injuries to important players, but they did not play well in any of those 3 games. And I saw Bristol City this past Tuesday. Didn't look good at all. So those teams are going to need a swing back. So I'd rather be Villa at the moment. I think tricky games. They've got Bristol City coming up, Sheffield Wednesday, all these teams chasing. Last 2 games for Villa, Leeds away and Norwich at home, although that last season. Peaky's point of talking about the teams. I'm not saying that the teams who have come down. The teams who have come down in the last 3 years, other than Newcastle, who gambled massively, have not been examples of teams who use their situations well. They really, really have not. And I'd even include Norwich in that, because up until this switch under Stuart Webber, it wasn't looking good for them, and Maddison got them out of the hole on and off the pitch last season, and they've had this lovely surge back. But some not good examples of teams coming down and keeping stable and using their financial advantage over the past 3 years. And that, frankly, is what's allowed Norwich, who ran out of parachute payments last year, Sheffield United and Leeds, who never had any in the first place, to go up. And I'm not saying, they're the best 3 teams in the league, and they're the best. And if you notice, they're the ones with a plan over kind of 2 years long, and they're the ones who are at the top of the league. There's no coincidence here. All I'm saying is it should be a massive head start, but I'm not saying every team takes it. So, I mean, look at Stoke, completely fluffed it, haven't they, this season? But hey, we'll see next season. Remember, the advantage continues for 2 years for sure. Oh, Angelo's just back from Millwall Brighton. I think they lost on penalties, the Lions there. So, yeah, we'll talk about them as we go down the table. I'm babbling on about parachute payments and whatnot. Ryan's talking about comparing Norwich to Wolves. What you've got to understand with Norwich is they have spaffed the money up until 2 years ago. And then, amazingly, they've done it with bugger all money than they did have in the first place. They didn't use the 45 million and the 35 million. Although if they used it to set up, then that was very, very wise. They've had to stabilise Norwich by selling the equivalent amount of money's worth of players to match the parachute teams. If you look, they've got their 45 million by selling Maddison, Murphy, Brady, Pritchard, etc., etc., etc. Ryan says, we do better when being cheap. Exactly right, Ryan. Absolutely, totally right. Sometimes teams do better when they actually don't have money, and they're a little bit more prudent and don't sign Van Wolfswinkel, Jarvis and Naismith, etc., etc. So I think even Norwich fans would admit that. Let's talk about Borough, though. 1 point in the last 4 games. Horrible week for Borough. Not only have they lost all 3 of their games, but swings. They've lost to Villa, 3-point swing, and they've lost to Preston, 3-point swing. So I believe both of those teams won the last 2. Yeah, so 6-point swing for Borough on both Preston and Villa at the moment. Goodness me. Borough, now, we said there'd be 6th place up for grabs. 5th place is up for grabs as well now. Borough 58, Villa 57, Preston 57, Derby 56 with a game in hand, Bristol City 55 with 2 games in hand, And then Wednesday and Forest. I know there's a lot of traffic, but Borough could honestly get caught here. I've said for ages, oh, Borough will finish 5th. Borough will finish 5th. Borough will definitely finish 5th. But, yeah, a draw and 3 defeats in a row, not good. So, we know Pulis, for all his style, doesn't please most people. We know he's a good manager. I'm not saying he's a bad manager. Sideburns looking lovely. They're terrible, aren't they? Dear oh me. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, not a good hair day for me today, but so yeah, Borough could mess this up. Ryan says Borough still worrying me. One team that's probably going to be worrying Borough is Preston, who are on fire. They can match Norwich over these last. No, they can't. They can't. 28 points in 12 games. Just but still outstanding form from Preston, and they've come from further back than Villa. And on a longer run. They sneak this one though, 94th minute winner from Maguire, and they keep the hammer down on those 3 faltering teams. Steve just pointed out about Borough as well. Their next game's against Norwich. Interesting one for both reasons, for both teams there. So they've kept the hammer down, Preston, on Borough, Derby and Bristol City here with this great run. No Brown for Preston, but Maguire does the damage. And Callum Robinson returns as well. I didn't know he was back. He played half hour. He was Preston's best player before they went on this amazing run. First appearance since November 24th. If they can drip him back in, that will strengthen Preston even more. 28 points in 12 games, 2.33. Astonishing form from Preston. They're tied with Villa in 7th place, 6 goals back on the goal difference. Preston do, though, have Sheffield United, Leeds and West Brom in consecutive games. So, although Preston are playing well, they're going to have to play really well to keep unbeaten against those teams. I'm sure they'd take a win, a draw and a defeat out of those 3 and just keep in there. Birmingham drop to 13th. Dan says Alex Neil knows about this division. Yes, he does. We'll do playoff predictions at the end. Billy as well. Same to Caleb. We'll do that in a bit at the end, probably. Birmingham dropped to 13th. 4 straight defeats. No goals in any of those games. No goal for Adams in 5. Preston, Birmingham, you could rest assured that Adams was going to score and bail them out, but he's not even been scoring in this game. Next 3 games for the Blues: West Brom, Leeds and Sheffield United. Not nice at all. In fact, that's weird. Preston have the same games but in a different order. You've got to look at this now. If Birmingham do get a 12-point deduction here for FFP, then they're right in the middle of it. So they're on 50 points. That would drop them to 38 and right into the middle of this this horrible relegation battle. Adams is a one-legged Timu Pukki. Well, all I would say to that is imagine Adams with the lovely chances created for Timu Pukki. Would he have scored more or less? And how many would Pukki have scored in Birmingham's team? Well, you do get nice knockdowns in Birmingham's team, I guess. But certainly Adams, very, very good player. And remember, he is English and younger than Pukki. So I know Norwich fans won't care about this because they don't want Pukki to be a big kind of financial asset. But Adams certainly, you would think, worth quite a bit of money to a Premier League team. Southampton came in. So yeah, big doomsday scenario for Birmingham if they do get a 12-point deduction. I know they're much better than the teams down there, but that would drop them right in the middle of it. Wednesday, they're on a run as well. Wednesday 4, Blackburn 2. Wednesday joined Villa and Preston as the third team on a bit of a charge. Dill, we'll talk about Ipswich in a minute, and Idris as well. They're on a bit of a charge. Fletcher and Nuyu put them 2-0 up. Conway gets Rovers back in it. Iorfa and Matthias. And Bennett gets one at the end, makes it 4-2, 6 goals in that game. Rovers killed by good finishing from Wednesday. Only 4 shots on target in that one and 4 goals for the Owls. Fletcher with 5 in the last 6. Since that press conference where Josh Lahukai got really cross at Swansea, Sheffield Wednesday have only lost one game in 16. No, Billy, we haven't done QPR yet. Stay tuned. They reside in 10th position, only 2 points off 6th place. Interesting. They're a bit far back, but they're certainly going to be a nuisance, I think, Sheffield Wednesday, rather than anything. And if the standard is low, they could get in there, although it does... I think they're just, I'd say, a bit below Villa and Preston in form at the moment. We talked about Borough quadruple Z. Yes, there's every chance they could drop out if it keeps going the way it's going for them. Rovers dropped to 17th. Disappointing form continues. 7 defeats in 9. 18 goals conceded in those 9 games as well. So 2 per game for them. Let's get to my team, Ipswich. And as usual, I have to apologise to Ipswich fans for the benefit of the channel. I was at Leeds, Sheffield United. I will answer that question that I ask every week from Dill. Yes, I will be continuing the Championship coverage. We've got a great team over at Blue Monday who will help me out with the Ipswich coverage while they're in League One. So do not worry, these streams will continue. The specials will continue, and I will be at Championship games next year. Obviously, I'll try to get to Ipswich games, but yes, that will happen. So don't unsubscribe. The Championship stuff continues. Also, don't unsubscribe if your team goes up. I'm worried about all the subscribers we've got now from the top 3. Well, we're going to lose 2 or maybe all of those. So Championship will be continuing. Forest, the last team in the playoff cluster here, it was 1-1 at Portman Road. As I say, I wasn't at the game. 3 points off 6th. Lot of traffic in the way for Forest. Quainer gives Ipswich the lead. Nolan with the own goal on 31 there. And then begins the Keith Stroud show. Ipswich have had him a few times this season. Rather questionable penalty for McGinn at Villa. He wrongly disallows Daryl Murphy's equaliser. Nolan smashing in from Judge's free kick. Stroud wasn't ready. That one gets disallowed. Penalty call as well. So neither team particularly happy with Mr. Stroud. I don't ever want to be one of those channels where it's, oh, we was robbed. But enough people whose opinion I respect have questioned Mr. Stroud as well. So yeah, certainly an interest there. Billy says positive signs from Ipswich going into League One. Yeah, I agree with that. Let's talk about Forest quickly. They're in with a chance, but so are 7 other teams really for 5th and 6th, and they've all got more points than Forest. And Forest's away form really sucks. Only 2 wins in the last 7 home and away, and 10 in a row with no away win for Forest. They really need to start picking up some points away from home, because other teams, Preston, Villa, Derby, Bristol City, Sheffield Wednesday, are all probably going to do that at a better rate than the Trees at the moment. Ipswich draw again for the 6th time in 7 on this extended pre-season. Paul says Lambert's now won 4 games in 39 with his combined teams. Interesting. They look very much like in need of a striker at the moment. They get in draws, and the stats seem to be heading, the in-game metrics seem to be heading towards Ipswich improving, but at 16 shots here, 6 on target, 3 big chances, but only 1 goal. They need to finish off these chances, but hey, we think it's a pre-season tour and settling the team, fans. Beware Ipswich fans, if you think League One will be a cakewalk, don't worry, none of us think League One's going to be a cakewalk. We really do not. Hull 2, QPR 2. This is the on-the-beach derby, isn't it, really? Both of these teams are not going to be troubling the relegation zone and not going to be troubling the playoffs, really. Hull a little bit too far back and loads of traffic in the way, and they've just dropped off since their ridiculous run. Jared Bowen puts Hull 2-0 up before half-time. 21 goals for Bowen from over on the right-hand side, always cutting in on that left foot of his. Bowen reveals that in January he turned down a £12 million move to Cardiff after the Salah tragedy happened. Interesting one, that one. Not ready for the Premier League yet, Bo, and a lot of people think he will end up there. Billy says he thinks QPR could go down. Don't think that's going to happen, Billy. The teams below just aren't good enough. It would take 1, 2, 3, 4 bad teams to get above QPR. But yeah, superb from Bowen. But Rangers come back to nick a point here. Scowen and Hemed with a goal. Can we have Luke Freeman, please? I think a lot of teams would quite like Luke Freeman. Never plays badly. Whenever I go to QPR, Freeman always plays well. Hull seem destined for bang in the middle of the table here. They're in 12th. I can't see them finishing more than 2 places above or below that. And Rangers, they're going to be in that 3rd quarter. Yeah, Billy says 1 win in 14, 6 points in 2019. I do agree with that. QPR's form is rubbish, but just the teams below you are not gonna drag you down. They're not good enough, the teams below. So Rangers have played themselves into a position where they're not gonna go down. Where did we get to? Yeah, and a Birmingham points deduction might even chuck a team below QPR as well there. So they might even get up to the dizzying heights of 17th, I think, QPR. Let's move on. Stoke 0, Reading 0. Stoke have drawn even more games than Ipswich. Goodness me. 17th draw of the season for Stoke. That's a league high. 6th draw in their last 7, like Ipswich, although Ipswich don't have Benicophobe, Tom Ince, 45 million quid parachute money. So it's a bit of a different context when Stoke draw all their games. Any more Norwich games? No, not sure. We'll see how it pans out, where I'll end up, but not any plans. There's a couple of Leeds and a couple of Sheffield United ones I might be able to make, but we shall see. Jones seemingly building from the back here. 3rd straight 0-0 draw if you're a Stoke fan. I think they did that earlier in the season as well. It's not been the most exciting season goal-wise for Stoke, but a bit of a come down from them. They've only conceded 2 goals in 7 games. Interesting. Mr. Butland at the back and the Stoke defence performing in very miserly fashion here. Reading stay on the right side of the line. 14 points in the last 10 is good. Very good if you're in the bottom 6, because no one's got anywhere near 1.4. In fact, only Wigan are on a point per game. Everyone else, oh no, beg your pardon, Millwall are as well. Everyone else not hitting 1 point per game. So Reading in decent nick, and they're really gonna look back at those 2 games against Wigan and Ipswich where they got late goals and got late winners and took those 6 points. Running isn't too kind. They've got Preston, who are chasing the playoffs. They've got Norwich, who are chasing the title. They've got Bristol City, who are chasing the playoffs. West Brom in the playoffs, and Borough. So 5 of their last 8 games look difficult. So if Rotherham can, even 1 point per game for the next few games, you could see Reading in the bottom 3 still. But we will see how it all pans out. Last one, Wigan 5, Bolton 2. Big win, literally and figuratively, for Wigan here. Pulls them 3 points above Rotherham, and you've got to start looking at goal difference now, because that could really stitch Rotherham up. Could stitch Derby up as well at the top there. So you've got to start looking at these figures when you're getting down to 2 or 3 games left. It really makes a big difference. Garner with the opening goal, and then a glut of goals in the second half. Massey, Powell with that ridiculous goal. I'm sure you've all seen where the Bolton keeper bowls it out and hasn't looked behind him. So I'm sure Mr. Parkinson or the goalkeeping coaches will be reminding him of that. Glut of goals, like I said, in the second half. O'Neill then for Bolton, Jacobs for Wigan, Amiobi, Clark for Wigan, and it ends up 5-2. Wigan really needed that. In this surge down the bottom, we always get a surge. Traditionally, the bottom 6 or 7 will start outscoring the teams like 7 or 8 above them. That mid-table team kind of goes into my beach mode that I call it. And Wigan were the only team that hadn't actually got a win, so they really need that. Yeah, see you soon, Paul. Bolton are screwed. So they're going down with Ipswich. Now 8 adrift with the league's worst goal difference. So it's not going to happen. We're dotting I's and crossing T's for Bolton. So it's going to be one of Rotherham, Reading, Millwall, Wigan, and hey, imagine Birmingham get a 15-point deduction. That would stick them on 35. Really interested to see what the EFL do here. They seem to be waiting for this deduction. Imagine the EFL just went for Birmingham, massive, just to make a point about FFP and deducted them 20 points. That'd be incredible, wouldn't it? That'd pretty much relegate Birmingham. Really interested to see how that one plays out. It'd be really harsh on Birmingham because there's no precedent yet. Angelo's asking about Millwall, Sheffield United away and West Brom at home and Leeds away. Tough run for Millwall as well. They need to get it together. They obviously had that good win in their last game. So look, I'll do some content this week on the automatic race, the playoff race, and the relegation battle. Let me just go to YouTube questions, and then we will do questions in the feed, assuming my feed doesn't go down, so I'll apologise in advance if that does, like it did. Neil asks, Farkwilder and Bielsa, this is on YouTube, you can always get questions in on the post if you've hit subscribe. Each done very well playing different styles. Which will have more impact on the Premier League when you go up? Which squad would require most investment? Look, obviously Sheffield United squad would require the most investment. They've done this much cheaper than the other teams do. They've obviously come up from League One. Leeds have that big match day income, and Norwich have parachute payments up until last season. So that would, I don't know, you would imagine Bielsa would have a little bit more than Farke and Wilder in terms of experience. You just look at those Norwich and Sheffield United teams, you look at what Fulham have done, and you think, for God's sake, if Norwich and Sheffield United go up, don't make massive changes. You know, they will have gone up because of a system over a 2 or 3 year period, and it's just crazy when you see teams tear that up. So you'd want to see Norwich or Sheffield United. You want to see Norwich still playing that 4-2-3-1, Sheffield United still playing that 3-5-2, but maybe just add quality in certain areas, but add first team players who can fit into what you're doing already. Don't go crazy, and you've got to look at it just as, you know, we mentioned about parachute teams. Don't bust the model completely, and you've got to understand it's okay to go up once, come down with loads more money and hopefully a couple of better players, not busting the finances, and then push yourself again in a better position. Obviously, you know, the number one thing is to go up and stay up doing the same thing, but if that can't happen, don't bust it like Fulham, is what I would say. John asked what plans. Apologies if I've previously said this. Yeah, we know the plans. I will keep going on the Championship stuff and the Ipswich stuff. The content will not drop off on the Ipswich end. Don't worry, we've got a good team there, and I'll get to as many games as I can. I did put a shout out on Twitter as well for questions. Let's see where we are going. Sorry, I'm on the wrong page. Goodness me. Sorry, guys. I promise I'm going to find the feed really quickly. Here we go. Sorry about that. Some lovely dead air there. Please don't go away. Max. Oh, Match Day with Max. Subscribe to him. Really great. A really young guy as well. I'm an old bastard. So follow Max as well. He's got a big future. Thoughts on Martin O'Neill's start at Forest? Not convinced yet. The football is what I expected in terms of it being a bit intense and a bit direct. Oh, thanks, Simon. Cheers. So check out that Norwich special I did. Although I just think O'Neill's had some promises from Marianakis here about next season. I think you're going to see some big splurge. Ask that question in a minute, Bingo. That's a really good question. I'll just do these. Another question about Forest. That's Jack. Again, I would say just look on the spend next season. Spare Tyre wondered where you would rank Billy Sharp compared to other strikers at this level. Billy Sharp's absolutely brilliant. And the reason Billy Sharp's brilliant is if you compare him to, so the other strikers at this level, the best ones are Pookie, Abraham, Adams. I don't really class Bowen as a striker, Rodriguez and Gale probably. And Sharp, on paper, if you did like Football Manager stats, Sharp is slower, older, less good in the air, but just everything is in there, and he's just so intelligent. Yeah, PK will be at player finals. So yeah, Sharp just does it all from up here, and I've seen 2 games with Sharp, whereas yesterday and the game at Villa, where you just see an absolute masterclass in just intelligence, where he gets a hat-trick against Villa, and all of the goals are from like 2 yards out, just by movement, even a bit of shithousery as well, just a little elbow in the back as a cross is coming in that doesn't get picked up. He's just so clever, Sharp, and he just, like, scoring a goal to Billy Sharp is like making a cup of tea for the rest of us. He just knows what he's doing, and he does it so effortlessly. So yeah, Sharp definitely the most intelligent. He may not be the physical specimen or worth as much as Abraham, or as good at dribbling or as clever finishing as Pookie, or, you know, I still think Jay Rodriguez, if you look at an all-rounder in terms of being good in the air, skillful and finishing, Jay Rodriguez is great, you know, at this level, probably the best all-rounder. And then you've got Adams with his power and his early finishing. So there's some really good strikers in the division, but Sharp really like. Sam asked, when will Ipswich be officially down? So 12 points back with a terrible goal difference. You're looking at Easter if that gap stays the same for Ipswich to be officially down. Ian, who's a Rotherham fan, says, as always, Ben, we gave the league leaders a hell of a game. Warney's getting 100%. Miller's go down, won't be for lack of effort and commitment. I think any reasoned Championship fan would agree that we're all kind of Rotherham fans, really. I know it's not that great to watch, but on their spend, they're doing absolutely superbly. And what you may find with Rotherham now is if Ajayi continues the season and someone buys him for 4 million or 5 million, that could make Rotherham. That really, really could. And, you know, he's just doing, if you look at teams achieving their potential, you look at the table, Norwich are above their potential, Sheffield United are above their potential, Leeds are above their potential, Preston are above their potential, and I'm going down and down the table. Birmingham, given the restrictions, are above their potential. Brentford are above their potential. And Wigan, Millwall and teams down there that are smaller clubs are probably hitting it. But Rotherham are way above their potential, doing a superb job there. Right, so any questions here in the feed? This is where the feed went down last time. We're up to at all. We're going to keep going. And I'm just going to kill my phone because the phone went a second ago. No, someone says they're mates with Paul Ward. Nobody's making more than £1,000 a week. Well, that just sums it up when you're playing against, you know, Villa paying 40 grand a week, and you know all those teams up the top are on the thick end of really, really good. What's the chances it'll be a West Midlands derby and a Yorkshire derby in the playoff semi-finals? High. Who do I think will be in the top 6? Well, the current 4 at the moment. And then Villa and Preston do look better than Borough. Do I think Smith is the man to take Villa up? Yeah, I do, actually. I do. Maybe not this season, but Smith has proven at Brentford over long periods of time. And I always say, yes, Nick, I will be at Ipswich last day, definitely. Over a long period of time, look at the metrics. Smith will produce you a team that will create loads of chances and not concede many. Caleb says, can I predict my top 6 in order? Goodness me, probably not. Look, Norwich are going to win it. Then Sheffield United will be 2nd and 3rd. I don't know in what order. West Brom will be 4th. And 5th to 8th will be Villa, Preston, Borough, and Bristol City or Derby. So difficult, but I don't know in what order. Is Lambert the man to bring Ipswich straight back? Hopefully, and hopefully they use this long pre-season. Let's Platinum. This is a great question. Do you think Chris Samba is better than Sol Bamba? Wow. Yes, jest. Golden Boot asked someone, and I can't remember who. How's it looking at the moment? Is Pookie out in front? I can't see the figures. Let me just get the figures up. Pookie 24, Sharp 22, Abraham. It's either going to be Pookie or Abraham on the basis that Sharp's going to get rested for a couple of games. Probably Pookie because he's going to play every game. He just never seems to get injured. So, do I think Wednesday can get the playoffs? I don't think so. No, I think there's too much traffic in the way, but they're certainly playing well and they're certainly going to finish in that top 10 by the looks of current form. Stranger things have happened. Clip me and tell me if I'm wrong. Pookie's not scored in 3 though. Yeah, fair point, Jake, fair point. But he's out in front and he's playing, he's the one up front in the team that creates the most chances. Chris Samba for the win there says, let's platinum. Sol Bamber was a bloody giant though, wasn't he, for Cardiff last season. Right, let's hang up the feed now. So we're international week, so tweet me at Benjamin Bloom with any content ideas while there's no games. I think I'll do something on the top 2 or the top 3 race, the playoff race and the relegation race. But yeah, tweet me with any ideas for videos. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Brian. As I say, hit the subscribe button. Don't know when I'll do another live stream, being as there's no games for a while, but we'll figure it out. Yes, to definitely still be doing championship videos next season. You're probably fed up of hearing me say that, but just to reiterate to everybody, that is going to happen. Am I going to Wembley on Friday? What's happening at Wembley on Friday? No idea. Is there a cup game? No idea. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, I will always answer as many questions as I can, as long as my dinner's literally not in the oven or the washing machine's on. Right, thank you for